I'm designing D&D tieflings off of the 7 deadly sins because no one's around to stop me. Let's begin! Let's start off with pride, the original sin, the source of all other sins, considered the greatest sin of all time, thinking yourself greater than God. That's what pride is. With each of these sins, research I've found, and I don't know how accurate it is, so hopefully this isn't coming across as super offensive, but each sin was given a designated color, animal, and divine punishment in hell. So, with Pride, for example, her color was violet, her animal was horse, and her punishment was being broken upon a wheel. So I gave her some pretty violet skin, I kind of tried to make her features horse-like, and I gave her tail a little wheel thing. And her horns are kind of about to form a circle, so that's where that is. For Pride, I imagine she was kind of like the de facto leader of this little ragtag group of tieflings. She's very young, she wears armor that's a little too big for her, and she's very full of herself. I like to think that she came from a family of proud knights who worshipped one greater entity, but she said, I'm gonna break away and do my own thing. So with that, her class would be Paladin Oath of Treachery. She only works under herself. Very prideful, very young, very baby. I love her. Lust is a pretty interesting sin. There's obviously the obvious connotations that come with lust, but it's more so about disordered love and just deeply craving attention and love. It's also considered one of the least intense sins, one of the least sinful sins, so to speak. So I feel like out of this whole group, he's kind of like the cool guy, he's the nice one out of the group. Not that any of them are particularly evil just because they're based off of the 7 deadly sins, but he's probably the one that's the friendliest face to go to. His color is blue, his animal is cow, which is reflected in his horns and his little nose ring and his cow legs, and his punishment is being smothered in fire and brimstone, so I gave him a little brimstone necklace. It would be very easy to make Lust the Bard, but I didn't want to go with that route, so instead he is a wizard from the School of Enchantment. He learns all about enchanting others and convincing people to like him. All in all, I imagine he's a pretty cool guy, like the big brother friend, and he'll say and do anything to get you to like him. He's a cool guy. I like him. Envy's the little grumpy boy of the group. Other than Pride, he's probably the youngest, and, well, he's a very envious guy. Unsurprisingly, the color of Envy is green, because the green-eyed monster, funnily enough, this character doesn't have green eyes, which was an oversight, but regardless, I decided to make him half-orc, because, you know, green skin, and also tieflings should be mixed of all sorts of other races, not just humans or elves or whatever. I think tiefling dragonborns and tiefling goblins would look super cool and awesome, so we should do that more. The animal is dog, which was kind of hard to put in, so I tried to give him a doggish nose, gave him a little collar, necklace thing. And the punishment of Envy is to be put in freezing water. So I tried to make his hair kind of look soppy and a little gross. But he's trying his best, he's just this grumpy young lad. As far as class, I made him a bard under the College of Valor. College of Valor bards usually tell stories of heroes and legends past and recount all these tales, so I like to think that Envy does that, but with a clear tinge of jealousy. He talks about all these past heroes, and he's just super jealous of them. He's so spiteful when he talks about it. I feel like he's probably super nice once you get to know him. Just don't do anything cool around him or he's gonna feel super insecure. Whenever I showed my friends these designs and asked them to guess who was which sin, they always guessed that she was Lust, and I can see why. Lust has been associated with busty ladies for quite a long time, but this lovely lady is Gluttony, because I changed the rules of modern views on women. Gluttony isn't just eating a lot, it's more consumption of more than is required and the pampering of oneself. So I imagine this is a very fancy lady who has everything anyone could ever ask for, but she's out and about doing adventures and earning gold because she wants more, because she deserves it. The Gluttony color is orange, which is shown by her orange skin and lovely orange hair. The animal is pig, so I gave her a little curly tail. And the punishment is force-fed rats, toads, and snakes, which is kind of gross and terrible on both sides. They're just little animals. So Gluttony is a druid under the circle of the moon. So she has a bunch of these little animal friends, the toads, rats, and snakes that are not getting eaten but being taken care of by her. And she's just a very proper lady who will take what she wants because she deserves it even if she doesn't really need it. Also, a fun thing about druids is they can turn into giant toads, and giant toads can eat their enemies. So you can imagine how she takes out a lot of their enemies. Sloth is probably my favorite design out of this bunch. Like, I love each of them, but I love her a lot. Sloth is defined as, someone who doesn't please God because it takes too much effort, and by God standards, if you're doing nothing, it means you're not doing any good, which means you're doing sin. So Sloth is, as you can imagine, a very lazy lady. Her color is light blue. The animal of Sloth is the goat, which is her eyes and her horns. And the punishment of a sloth is to be thrown into a snake pit. So I gave her a little rattlesnake tail to kind of symbolize that. As far as class, I wanted to make her a sorcerer of draconic blood. Because I wouldn't say sorcerers are lazy, but it seems like the class that takes the least effort. And with that, I kind of crafted this backstory where she's like the daughter of this powerful ancient dragon, and she just lays around the cave all day and doesn't do anything. So finally, her draconic father said you have to go out and go on some adventures before you can come home, and she's really sleepy and she'd rather be taking a nap, but she can't get her bed back until she goes on some adventures, so here she is. Also, she has wings, but she's too lazy to fly with them. Overall, I just love her. She's adorable. Wrath. We love some good wrath around here. Wrath is one who is easily provoked, one who chooses fury over love, and does things in the name of passion. So we have this very fun, very passionate lady. Not always angry, but if you make her mad, she can hold one hell of a grudge. The color of Wrath is obviously red. The animal of Wrath is a bear, and the punishment of Wrath is probably the most gruesome compared to all the others, which is being dismembered alive? I couldn't really find a way to fit that into the design, so just keep that in mind. I had her class as a barbarian, obviously, but she's a totem barbarian. Totem barbarians have sort of a kindred animal that they call to for power and special abilities. Hers obviously being a bear. I like to imagine Wrath grew up with bears in the woods or something, and that's how she got all these scars, that's how she got this pelt of fur of all the bears she's defeated. And she's overall very fun, you know, very, very rough. In a fight she's vicious, but with her pals, she's just a great big sister. Woo! Last but not least, we have greed. Greed is one who overextends in riches and cares only for material things. Obviously, he's a rogue thief. The color of greed is yellow, the animal of greed is frog, and the punishment is being boiled alive in oil. So he's got this oily, slicked back hair, he's got these big, bulging froggy eyes, and this yellow spotted skin like certain frogs have. He's kind of a slimy-seeming dude, is covered in jewelry he stole and with clear intentions to steal even more. I feel like he's one of those characters who starts off as this ambiguous roguish type who's like, I'm definitely gonna betray you, I don't care about anyone, but he gets close to people very quickly and has the biggest bleeding heart of all of them. He's just trying his best. Also, his tail's a knife. If you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. I can't express my gratitude. This is content I really want to make more of, because I love designing characters, I love talking about D&D, and I just love talking. And yeah, this is really fun. So if you watched this far, tell me, if you were to design the 7 Deadly Sins as tieflings or demons or just characters in general, what elements would you take out? What would you integrate? And, I don't know, tell me your color, animal, and divine, punishment, and hell. Anyway, have a great day, and I hope to see you again soon!